everyone, this is Nikos. I've been selling on Amazon for the last 4 years, and I've been able to do this from a part-time hobby while I was still teaching to a full-time business, pays the mortgage, and now I'm only working 3 times a week on it. So yeah, it's progressively changed. It's gone from retail online arbitrage into a full private label business. And yeah, I still do the retail and online arbitrage, especially when I can find finds like this. So this was something that I found. It was £4. I was able to get it from a place called Game over here in the UK, along with phrases. £4, and I was selling it during the Christmas holiday. Now notice how it's gone all the way down to 7.31 at the moment in time. For me, I've been able to also sell these through the EFN program, okay, so in Europe, and I sold them for 15.99. I've sold 20 of them, so you can see how I got a profit per item of £4.74. Total profit from them to 94.80. So really pleased with this purchase, and yeah, so I was able to use the data from BuyBot Pro and figure out if this is going to be a good buy or a bad buy. But this happened here because Sports Direct themselves were selling eventually onto this listing. This is why this dropped so much. And that's something that's going to happen when it comes to retail online arbitrage. Unfortunately, you might have big boys that jump on a listing and lower the price. And what I had to do is I have to pay the mortgage. Simple as that. I have to pay the mortgage. I have to pay the bills. I have to pay the nursery fees, etc. And Amazon does all that. So I couldn't afford to be committing, let's say, for 100 or 200 units of that action figure, and then somebody else just dropped the price more and more. So what I did, I switched into the private label business model where I had items coming all the way from China. I put my logo on it, and then I sell them for a profit. So all I've got here today, we're going to be going through a little spreadsheet that I use when I'm doing my sourcing. And yeah, so what you're trying to do here is when you're creating a private label business, you're not looking to spend 300 to purchase 300 units and then just find a different supplier. You're hoping to have a constant relationship with the supplier. So it's very, very important for you to be able to negotiate as much as possible for yourself. So if you want a copy of this spreadsheet, I will make sure to have it as the first email that you get when you sign up for my newsletter. Literally, all you have to do is go to my website, so nikosmarkos.co.uk, and just scroll all the way to the bottom, and you can sign up for Amazon newsletter. So one of the first things that you're going to receive is this spreadsheet, along with my sourcing cheat sheet. So yeah, if you do thinking I want to jump into and have a call with yourself, again, all you got to do is book a free call with myself and we can do that too. So you should be able to see and have access to this at the moment in time. So if you're thinking, first of all, why have you got 11 suppliers? Whenever you start and talking to, you get a different idea, you need to be speaking to so many different suppliers. So if you're thinking this is too many, well, what you're trying to do, you're trying to get the best price here. You're trying to compare different prices. And this column here that I've got, hopefully, these columns here and this potentially will help you as much as possible. It's is realistically just a little checklist for yourselves here. Now at the bottom here, what I also have is I have a little checklist for, just move myself just here so I'll be off. I've got a checklist of what happens when you do get your items and they do arrive here. I want you to be checking everything on week-to-week basis. In fact, you could potentially break this down to 3 days, but let's say minimum per week. And I'm going to go through in detail and talk about what I've got here. So let's zoom in. So let's have a look at what we're referring to and what I want you to be paying attention over here for yourselves. It's very, very important when it comes to this. Again, we just use it as a little checklist to figure out what we need. Now, when it comes to an order for yourselves, one of the main important things that you need to be doing is making sure is what the item, how the item's packed, and what are the item dimensions. Now, why is that? Is because you can utilize a software like Helium 10. And again, I'm just going to show you, I'm going to get a cut off and show you what this looks like, where you can put the profitability and work out the profitability of that item according to its dimensions. The dimensions of the item matter massively. It might be a large letter, it might be a small letter, it might be a small parcel, it might be an oversized item. I've had items where I thought they're going to be, and again, these are costly mistakes that I've done throughout the process of 2.5 years of switching into private label, is I thought my item's going to be a small parcel and it ended up being an oversized small. So automatically I had a quid extra for fulfillment fees. And how was I able to resolve this? I was able to create my own packaging for it, and I was able to at least cut it by 50p. But one of the main things I want you to keep a note for yourselves whenever you're doing through this process is the item dimensions and the item weight. Next thing I want you to be having is a link to the image folder. So what I want you to be doing is I want you to create a Google Drive folder, and literally as you're getting information from the supplier, you're just simply uploading that onto the Google Drive for yourself. Now, you can have images that you could potentially even use to create the listing, or again, this is stuff that you could be using in order to defend yourself. So I do not do samples, okay? I don't just do samples because I think it just takes too long for it to come, and then automatically I've got 40 or 50 quid off that I need to consider before I get the item over here. Now, if you're thinking, I would like a sample of this, chances are somebody else in the UK market is already selling this, so you can just order it from them and find out what the item feels like. Again, what you're trying to do is somebody else will have that item on the UK marketplace, but what you're trying to do is have a different color, something different on this listing. Could you create better images? Again, simple as that. You could have exactly the same item, but you need to do something better. If you're thinking the only way for you to sell this item is by being cheaper, well, that is just a recipe for disaster. So link to image folder. One, for images you could potentially be using. Second, for images that you could use to protect yourself. You can ask, what does this look like, etc. Real life images. Take a screenshot of the conversations and upload them there, in case you receive something that is not as you expected and you still defend yourselves. Next thing we've got is the total payment to Alibaba. As you're going through and talking to the supplier, eventually you're going to get total payment from Alibaba, and this is what I want you to be putting here. Please make sure that you make a note at the time of purchase. How much? What was the exchange rate? It'd be quite interesting to figure out what was the exchange rate at the time for your sales. I always ask, what is the price per unit EXW? And if you think, what is this EXW? What is it referring to? I'm referring to the simple fact, this is as if you were buying the product from the factory. No cost of postage or anything that involved. What is the exact unit price for your item if this is finished in the factory? No postage involved. So what I've done is I've made sure that EXW stuff is all in the same thing. So total paid on Alibaba, if you paid as EXW terms, I've got a total quantity, and then you can have transfers, etc. So you've got the three different methods. You've got FOB. How much did you pay if you're doing FOB? So what we're talking about FOB, we're talking about, yes, you've paid for the price of the item at the factory, plus the Chinese supplier has been responsible to take this item to the warehouse of your forwarder and also pay everything clearance in China. So that's what FOB is. And potentially sometimes they will give you a FOB price for your items. And again, what I've done is I've just got it color paid again, total paid FOB, cost of postage FOB for them. Yeah, because you're going to have cost of postage FOB for them. You should also even add, I'm just going to again, insert column above. So control copy, control V. We're going to have cost of postage from our forwarder. From forwarder. Because you still have to transfer the item from China all the way to a UK port, so they will give you an extra postage here. You can have, so FOB also would mean that when the items arrive here, you would have to pay duty, you would have to pay VAT, you'd have to pay palletization. So these are figures that you need to be noting for yourselves. Now, unfortunately, you won't know the exact price for duty fees at the time of arrival. It's only at the time of arrival you'll know what the duty will be on that. But for the next order, you need to make sure that keep a note for yourself. How much duty did you pay? Did you pay 10%? Did you pay 2%? Did you pay 3%? It is whatever the item that you're importing in. So please make sure you do that. Palletization. Make a note. How many pallets did you use when you came over here? So if your item needs to go on a pallet and then to Amazon, they will charge you, let's say, 25 quid per pallet. That's what would be the charge for it. Plus, potentially the cost to shipping it into Amazon or shipping it to yourselves. At the moment in time, if I were using Westbound, I think it's 195 per cubic meter, and that fee includes transportation to my house. It doesn't include the extra duty or the VAT, but includes the fee to my house, let's say. Another way of importing goods would be with delivery duty paid, and with that, you know exactly what the price of it would be. And what I've done is I've just split it into two categories for yourselves. I've got it delivery duty paid fast, delivery duty slow. Um, it's very important when you're speaking to people is to get different quotes. Potentially, you might want to have 500 units, but you could do 200 fast, 300 slow, or 100 fast, 400 slow. And again, please, please, please get quotes for this to work out what works best for yourself. Of course, if you've got large, bulky items, there's just no point doing it by express shipping. You may as well do it by slow. Note for yourselves, what is the total cubic meters for your postage, the total weight? Again, you can figure out what the cost of postage will be. So on obviously I've got people that I mentor, and what I've just done is I've just created a channel for people communicating, and we're just going to be putting the quotes that we get from different suppliers and different prices, so people know if the supplier is trying to make extra money or not from shipping. Of course, total quantity, how many did you buy, and then these are really important too in order for you to be able to plan. Is the duration of transfer since payment, if it was a slow postage, duration of transfer since postage. So payment and postage are two different things. Please, whenever you're communicating with suppliers on Alibaba, ask him what is the lead time. The lead time is from the moment of payment until postage, until they actually post it out to you. That is the lead time. Sometimes they will milk it. I've had suppliers talking about 2 months lead time, which is insane. And of course, I didn't utilize them. So then, of course, you will have price per unit landed, delivery duty paid, price per unit landed, delivery duty paid again, so fast or slow. We've got, so may as well change this to also include fast. Then we've got slow and price per unit landed FOB. Again, these are all for reference for yourselves, either when communicating to the supplier or when you've got the final price. At least you know what you've paid for it. Very important, okay? If you're not using spreadsheets, what you're doing. So I've got one column, this is your order, and I've got the other page where you could be doing it per supplier every time. Again, supplier's name, you're going to have so many different suppliers. You can simply have the link potentially even to the Alibaba conversation and press it here, and you go back and forward with them. You're going to be speaking to a lot of suppliers, so please make sure you keep everything tidy. Hence as to why I've made sure that we've got 11 different suppliers here. What I'll do is I'll also make sure that data, let's freeze this column. It's been a while since I've done it. There we go. Freeze column 1. So as you're scrolling for yourselves with different suppliers, you can see that that's attached there. Order here. And then when we're going downwards for ourselves is, as I said, you could do it per week. You could do it every 3 days. What's the changes? Again, let's freeze this panel. Again, view, freeze the first column. So as we're going progressively per week is how many units are we selling? Yeah, what is the landed price? How many units were available? How many do we start with? Okay, so here we've not put a number, so that minus 160 is because I've put 10, let's say 10 per day. If we started, let's say, with 500 units, that will change to 340 here for yourselves. Landed price per unit, what did you have it? Selling price per unit, you will find that the selling price for week 1, week 2 will be different. And you can almost see the pattern here for yourselves, what happens to it. Profit before ads. So again, you're utilizing software like Helium 10. What was the profit on it before then? Then you've got margin before ads and profit. Please, 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 if you're VAT seller, you need 30% margin. Non-VAT seller, you're looking at 35% margin. It will make a big difference for your profit. Then you've got your ad spend. How much did you spend during that week for it? Did you get any reviews? Profit after ads per unit. Profit after the ads altogether, because you've got 15, 20 units, whatever units you sold, and the margin after the ads. It's so important for you to be keeping on top with everything when it comes to launching a private label product. And yeah, it will save you a lot of a headache of just going back and forward and saying, how much did I pay for this order? Because when you start putting 2 or 3 orders with China, you think, how much did I pay to this? And then you would have to go, let's say, for example, on Wise and find out what was the exchange rate at this point, how much did you pay, etc., etc. Having everything on a spreadsheet will be amazing for yourselves. And then all you can do is you can name each obviously page into your product, and hopefully that will solve you a lot of headache for yourselves. As mentioned, this will be one of the first things you'll get when you sign up for my newsletter. If you've already signed up for a newsletter, I'll make sure that I send this out to everyone that's already signed up for us, but it will be triggered with anyone signing up. You'll be receiving that. And if you're thinking, I would like somebody to help me mentoring throughout this process, again, as mentioned, all you got to do is go to my website and just simply click book a call. You'll find my calendar link, and it's as simple as that for yourselves to book a call with myself to work out if I'm good enough for yourselves and if I'm the person that you should be using to do your mentoring. Yeah, I absolutely love what I do at the moment in time. I love selling my own brand. I love scaling it. I've literally just registered my second brand, ready to do something a bit different too with Amazon. It is 2025. If you're thinking, I would like to start PL, then there's no better time. You can start now and be ready for Q4 next year. Thanks so much for watching. If every now and then you see the cold in the screen, it is because it is currently -3, but I thought, let's get this video out for people. And yeah, hopefully, if I can help one person with this spreadsheet, I can help the one person with that spreadsheet. That's all I'm after. I like helping people. And hopefully, if you sign up for yourselves, you can also get into your journey towards freedom and scaling your own brand on Amazon. Thanks so much for watching, everyone. And if you're thinking, what other mistakes could you potentially have made over the last 2 years? I've got the video just there. Thanks so much for watching.